Welcome to the Las Vegasville podcast, brought to you by Jump Studios, where we cover topics related to everything happening around Sin City, including the social media scene, food, and a whole lot more, with some of the best, most popular accounts around the city, and talk about their success in Vegas and beyond. I'm your host, Philip Zhang, aka Las Vegas Phil. Check me out on IG or TikTok, and feel free to text or leave me a voicemail at 702-551-4445. On with the show. Okay, welcome to this week's show. The road of an artist is uncharted territory and is a unique life journey only applicable to them. It's not made up of things happening in a classroom. It comes from inspiration from the most unusual places, chance meetings, and wildly profound moments, all the while working your ass off on their craft or crafts and evolving through that time to be a better version of yourself. Adam Rella at PrettyDone is the most omnipresent artist in Vegas. He's an artist whose style can best be described as freestyle pop, art utilizing different mediums ranging from canvas paintings to cars to street murals and so much more. He's also a key part of the Jump Force studio with the awesome work on the guest side, and which everyone can see weekly, along with my most prized possession, this masterpiece behind me over here, which he made at Sparrow and Wolf. With big name clients like the Raiders, Ford, Red Bull, Meow Wolf, MGM Resorts, Walmart, and many more. His work has become a staple of Las Vegas, and I can't wait to talk more to him about it. With over 14K on IG, let's welcome Adam, better known as PrettyDone, on the show.
Woo!
How are you, man?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here and excited to talk about life with you, man.
For sure. So I want to kind of get this out of the way because people call you PrettyDone, but the brand is PrettyDone. Now, do you consider yourself PrettyDone, or are you Adam of PrettyDone?
I mean, I'm Adam. I'm the designer. I'm the idea, founder, creator of PrettyDone. So, I mean, you're not going to find me by Googling Adam. So PrettyDone has been my brand and my label that I wanted to create, a little world of my own and style, and kind of just make the things that I want to make and expand on my, imagination. So you could call me Adam or PrettyDone, but, if you want to find me online, it's PrettyDone. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's get into the origin story a bit. You're from Ohio.
Yes.
I actually grew up in Akron.
That's where I'm from.
Oh, really?
That's crazy.
Oh, that's crazy.
You grew up in Akron?
So I was born there, but my parents moved to Boston when I was like 2 or 3. But yeah,
wow.
My dad worked for Firestone.
Wow.
And
that's amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I would have never expected that. I mean, Akron it's a beautiful place. There's history and heritage and, amazing things, manufacturing and, Four Seasons and terrible winters, but you got to get out of there, right? It's like a sad little pocket to some degree. So, you know it, and it's cool to be from there, but it's hard to grow there, and it's hard to be inspired and really see, the future, in a lot of ways. So I grew up in Ohio and Florida, and I love Ohio, and I don't love Florida.
What part of Florida?
I grew up in Fort Lauderdale area and Orlando.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's where I started DJing.
Oh, wow.
Orlando. I did a little bit of college there, graphic design, darkroom photography, and it was just very slow paced for me. I was becoming obsessed with DJing. I was 19 years old, and that's when I started DJing, and I was just full force DJing. So the art and photography, I was like, this is too slow. It's taking me away from the music. I could do this on my own terms, and let's go, straight for DJing and pursue that. And the art and music, I'll figure out, or the art and photography, I'll figure that out and go full force with the music. And that's really my foundation. Music and DJing allowed me to, follow my heart and give me a purpose in life. And, that's what allowed me to survive, to eventually start drawing as much as I did to create PrettyDone. So I've always loved graphic design and logos and lettering, but I just never applied myself to the art. It was music that kind of gave me the inspiration to, this is like this could be a career. This could give me, the energy, the fun, my love of music. I love scratching and mixing and mashing things up. So, I was just super inspired by, DJing, and that's what, led me to Vegas in 2010.
Very cool. And yeah, you can check him out you can check out all of Adam's music stuff at, I lost the website. I had it here.
Adam the DJ?
AdamTheDJ.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All the SoundCloud stuff and the remixes and all that. So I think a lot of people in Vegas know you specifically from the art, and maybe are surprised that you were playing all these places in Vegas for years.
Right.
Surrender, all those places. You're currently playing at Min's Test Kitchen at Encore on Saturday. So why did you choose Vegas? Well, how many times did you come to Vegas before committing to moving?
Twice.
Okay.
Yeah, I came to Vegas twice. And, I was young. I was 21, 22, and I moved here when I was 22, but I think I came here like 20 and 21, and I just saw the energy was fun. I'm drinking, I'm being an idiot, and I just saw the energy building here, and I was just doing the same gigs in Orlando, and I was just like, wow, look at EDM and all the pool parties and the energy in Vegas. It's like a real city. Orlando's so tiny, and I was just doing the same circle and loop of gigs, and I just wanted more. So I saw what was happening here. I knew some people knew me, but I didn't have any gigs. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it, because no one's gonna come knock on my door. Hey, Adam, you want to go to play a bigger market and be the DJ you want to be? No. So you gotta, take that risk and believe in your craft and what you do, and push it, because when you have that feeling of going after something, you just got to get it. Go out there and get it. So, when I moved here, that's really the beginning of like a whole new chapter for me, which I needed, and that's when I started drawing consistently, and that's how I started PrettyDone, was just drawing in my apartment, smoking weed in my boxers.
Amazing.
Amazing. That's how it all began.
So even in 2010, the DJ market was considered saturated back then.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's always...
Where were you playing initially? I mean, you just had to make your own stuff happen?
Yeah, so I didn't start gigging until... So I moved here at the end of 2010, and then for, I don't know, I'd probably say 8 months or so, I didn't have much happening. I would go out and meet people and do things, but my first residencies were at Blush at the Wynn.
Yep. Great space.
Legendary spot. That was such a amazing opportunity, and so many things sprung from that gig, which is how life happens sometimes. I get a little opening slot on a Thursday or a Wednesday or whatever it was, and then next thing I know, like so many things just starts branching off from that. So that was one of my first residencies, and Deuce Lounge at Aria. It was like a little lounge.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that too.
Yeah, man.
Damn, that's taking me back.
Yeah, so those were my first, consistent gigs. And then after that, people start using you, and they start realizing what you're capable of, and your style, and your attitude. And that's such a big thing when you're, in a DJ world. It's like, if you have a good attitude, you do well, and, you're consistent, I mean, things just start popping up and happening. So if a manager is like, hey, change the song or switch up the energy or pick it up, and you just kind of go with the flow, those are huge, bonus points for you, and they'll just keep using you from there.
Okay, so you start gigging, all this stuff, you're drawing at home, pen to paper. Was that more of just artistic release or therapy?
Yeah, it was all therapeutic. I mean, it still is. But this was definitely like, how do I put it? Just let it all out. I was just to-do list. Start a podcast, go to the bank, clean your apartment, draw some animals, and go to the gym. And then I'll draw some characters next to it, and then I'll draw some bubble letters. So it was like this kind of just this messy output release of expression that I was like needing. I was like, wow, I could just keep drawing, and working my way through this and you know, finding quotes and messages and you know, things that would, you know, are catchy and witty that, you know, have a little ring to them, but also helped me get through times, you know, like believing and achieving, like something as simple as that. Like I would draw that in like, you know, a bubble font with like some designs around it. So I have like thousands of these in my house, and they're all in like portfolios and big bins now because it's just so much paper.
I can't even imagine.
It's crazy.
Like, how big is the space of just
it's a lot.
Storage for?
Well, so when I was drawing all this, you know, in 2011, 2012, no one even knew I was doing it. You know, people only knew me as a DJ, and I was just doing it for me. Like no one even knew, cared, paying me, nothing. It was just me in my apartment drawing. And, you know, I think that is such a special window of time for me, because to see where it's at now is, you know, it's a completely different thing now. And I love that because it's the progression and the growth of all the, you know, consistency and hours I put into this. And it's all for the love of that, you know, because I still draw pen and paper at times because it's just so pure and simple and free. You know, it's like the most basic way to create. You know, you don't need all these tools and brushes and canvas and, you know, cans or whatever. It's just literally a pen and paper. And so at my apartment, I would just have mountains of papers. So I didn't have people over at my apartment for a while because I was embarrassed. I'm like, there is paper everywhere and they're gonna think I'm crazy. So one day I was like, let's organize all this and turn this into, you know, a brand, you know, because I want to do shirts, I want to do products, I want to do, you know, little items like collector stuff that, you know, that I've always liked, you know, as a kid or even as an adult. Just I've always loved like limited edition little sculptures and posters and, you know, all these things that other artists are doing. So I was like, oh, I have thousands of characters and lettering and logos and ideas. So let's scan all these, put them in Illustrator, color them, clean them up, and start posting them. So if you scroll back to my Instagram, I think I started it maybe 2012 or 2013. So for, like I said, the first 2 years, it was just pen and paper and I wasn't really showing anybody. So I was like, let's start uploading these and sharing them. And that's kind of what I was doing. I was just scanning, cleaning them up, uploading, and it would just be characters, you know, side by side. They weren't really layered like this yet. So I did that for years, and then I started making little clusters of them. And then I started doing full patterns and like doing the whole page. So that was like the evolution of the layering and the faces. But I've always just loved faces as a kid, you know, if it's like little toys and logos and cartoons and, you know, the Cleveland Indians logo, which is gone now, which is so sad, but that was such an inspiration of mine. You know, I loved even the old school one from like the 30s, like that was like one of my favorite. I would always try to find the hat with the old logo. And yeah, I've always just been drawn towards that. And it just kind of started shaping and forming. And so when I was making all the portfolios and scanning stuff, I was like, all right, what do I call this? You know, like this is just a bunch of ideas and a lot of faces, a lot of fonts. And that's what I was going to call it, faces and fonts. And I was like, it's kind of basic. It's not like fun and exciting, faces and fonts. So I was like, all right, we'll come back to the name. And I don't remember the exact night, but I remember one night I was drawing and I was just like, just kept drawing more arms and more legs and more eyes. And it just never felt done. It felt pretty done. And I was like, pretty done. It's kind of pretty done. And then after I heard pretty done a couple times, I'm like, pretty done. Silly. It's like everyone says it, like the bagel's pretty done. The pizza's kind of done. It's pretty done. Oh, it's pretty done. So that's how it all started, man. I was like, all right, once you commit to a name and a lane and a pathway, you're like, okay, I see this could work. Then it's just a slow, trickle effect, or it's just like my incline is like super slow. And that's, what's led me to today is just that slow climb versus like trying to come out with a store and a bang from the beginning when, it was just, there was no chance of that even happening. It was like delusional. A lot of people want the biggest and the best from the beginning, but, you got to get familiar and you also have to develop your style and evolve it and then, let people digest it, because if you don't share the art, no one knows. And that's what I started realizing is like the more I share, it's a two-way street. They get something cool and I get a good feeling and it starts kind of, building from there.
Amazing. So when did when the art leave the bathroom, leave the apartment,
Yeah.
leave Instagram and kind of get traction with the public? What year?
Well, over the years, like I would say like 2011 to 2016 is when I was just in my apartment, pen and paper. I did some logos, some flyers, some mix covers for, musicians and DJs. So I was doing I did a couple small things. I would get, $100 here, $50 there, $200 there, but it was all just little stuff. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And it feels good to get paid for something that you were doing just for you. And this is all while I'm DJing, over the time, it was always fluctuating, but at one point I was playing 6 nights a week, up and down the strip, some downtown, and DJing was like my world. And then in the background, I would go home and draw and do some little paintings here and there. And then 2015, I would say 2015, I started doing some small canvases at home, picking up the brush, and doing all that. And then it wasn't until 2017 is when I started doing public work. And that's kind of really when people started seeing it and understanding and digesting, like, oh, wow, that's different. I've never seen that before. And it was, Life is Beautiful. It was Ferguson's. It was Veggie Nation, Seventh and Carson. And these were like the first people I was working with to do custom murals and paintings. And I was like, wow, this is so different than just being in my apartment. I'm actually, designing a stage for Life is Beautiful and a mural and a poster. And then I'm doing Veggie Nation bathrooms. And then I'm doing, the market in the alley before Ferguson's when it was just a trailer park. I was just doing the alley by myself. It was just all dirt and garbage, I was just late night, just literally like when the bunkhouse, it was booming, I would hear the music in the back and I'm over there just painting. And it was just like, it felt exhilarating, a spray painting is such a different feeling than pen and paper. So when I picked up the spray can, that's kind of when, the party got started. I was like, wow, this is fast. It's big. I could just kind of control it how I want to control it and have fun, painting with a different tool. So since then, it's just been every year since it's been growing and growing and just doubling and doubling and tripling and tripling.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so many spots now. Area 15, the English Hotel, Wynn, Ferguson's, which was your first one, right?
One of my first, yeah.
Yeah, one of your first. Marquee Day Club, Fashion Show Mall, Sorry Not Sorry, Jump Force here. I mean...
Absinthe, The Link. Yeah. I mean, it goes on and on. It's a beautiful thing, and it wasn't like a grand plan. It was just more of, my work ethic and dedication and love of designing and drawing and, just creating something fun and funky that I'm like, oh, I love this. They love it too, and I'm getting paid. Let's keep doing this. And, but also just, also having fun with it, because that's the thing about art is, it's your world. You make your own rules. You do what you want with your art. If you only want to do little canvases that are 3 inches by 3 inches, you could do that. If you want to paint buildings, you want to paint refrigerators, you want to do this, you want to do that, it's up to you. And that's what I always try to, teach kids and other people. It's always about what do you want to do with your ideas and make what you want to see. Like if you do that consistently, eventually, and you share it, eventually people are going to want you for you, you know, and that's where the value is. I always tell people, like, don't follow trends or listen to people. Like, listen to you, you know, and dig into that.
Yeah, everyone's journey is kind of in a different place in a different time, and however it works, it just works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Creatively, you know, I talked to a lot of people where 2020 was really their year to have taken things to another level and really never looked back. What was 2020 and the pandemic like for you?
It was amazing in a weird way, you know, because there was so much sadness and situations happening that are unfortunate. But I was grateful to have a lot of work then. You know, that's when I painted Disco Pussy, and I painted a lot of murals. I painted Absinthe. I painted a bunch of other places. So it was, you know, it was just sounds weird to say, but it was a great time for me. I was doing murals still. I was also I love being at home creating. You know, that's the thing about being an artist. You know, you're alone a lot. You're always, you know, if you're a diligent artist, you're always trying to make better ideas and experimenting and, you know, freaking your style so that like, oh, okay, let's turn it upside down, or let's invert it, or let's mix this with that, and, you know, throw some paint around. So for me, being at home creating is like my favorite. You know, I love meeting people and painting live and doing all the things that I do, but everything really starts in solitude, you know, with music and, you know, or silence, you know, whatever I'm feeling, and food and weed. That's all I need.
Sounds familiar. Sounds like me. So when you're doing like these gigantic pieces of work, like, do you got headphones on? Are you watching a movie? Like, how does it?
Never headphones, to be honest. I can't do headphones when I'm painting. I feel disconnected from the environment or the situation. I always love just absorbing this, you know, the sound and, you know, the environment. I do have a little boom box that I bring around, and I listen to music, you know, when I feel the energy, you know, but sometimes I'll paint in silence, or, you know, I'll be talking to people while I'm painting and having conversations, listening to podcasts. I mean, it's all about what I'm feeling at the moment. Like I remember when I was painting the 7th and Carson mural, which is really my main mural, I would say, which was with Life is Beautiful and Liam at 7th and Carson. And, you know, I was painting that at like midnight in 2017. And it was just exhilarating because there was just crackheads and people walking around and loud music off of Fremont. And yeah, people are like, can I help? I want to do this. I'm a painter. And I'm like, you know, you got to ignore crazy people. So there was just all these like kind of situations happening. You know, there's beer bottles, there's dirt around. And so I'm just kind of absorbing all of that while I'm painting and just like, you know, really enjoying the process, because this is, you know, one of my first murals where, you know, I'm literally no sketch, just showing up and just making it up. So I started off with that from the beginning, always just improvising and, you know.
So there's never a plan?
No, I mean, it just depends. Like certain projects, like when I did a Warby Parker murals for them, you know, I have to do some mock-ups and they got to get approved because they're very specific.
Oh.
Yeah, on their branding and direction. But I can never replicate my characters. That's the thing that's like always has to be improvised. You know, if I draw a design and says, you know, nice to see you, and it has like a little puppy dog, which I did for Warby Parker at their office here in Vegas. That was like a specific design, like that's a quote of theirs. So that was very specific and like verbatim projected and then painted on the wall. But the characters, always improvised, never the same as the mock-up. I'm like, you're gonna get some faces like this, you know, and they were very specific. Like, we don't want any mean faces, no sharp teeth, and no hats. That was another thing. And I was like, okay, I won't do those things. And that's easy to do for me. So there's little restrictions, and some of it's planned, some of it's, you know, it just depends on the scenario. Like, you know, like if I do a restaurant, I'm like, you know, we'll talk over the key elements of it, but then around it is always freestyled.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have there? What are some of the most ridiculous requests you've had where you were like, I don't know if
Ridiculous.
that's a great idea.
Like ridiculous, like not a good, like bad. You're saying, or what do you mean?
Yeah, maybe like just different.
Different. Let me think. Ridiculous. I don't really get a lot of ridiculous requests. You know, I think once you see what I do, you kind of know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
You know, and I kind of lean into, you know, their world, whatever it may be. You know, from food to, you know, business offices to restaurants or whatever it may be. I'm always trying to relate to what they're doing and bring in elements of that. And yeah, I don't really get too many ridiculous stuff.
Well, maybe not ridiculous, just kind of like, I don't know.
Like crazy?
Like, for example, like I know celebrities have commissioned you for things.
Yeah.
You know, Usher.
Yeah.
But like, has there ever been like someone that wanted to commission you for something way off base?
No.
Okay.
I haven't really got
good.
a lot of those situations, or like I haven't done a mural where people are like, we don't like this or we don't want this. So I guess it's kind of, I don't know. It's a fortunate situation where, like I said, I think you kind of know to some degree what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And there'll be a little wiggle room for me to kind of have fun with it. But I'll be consistent, you know.
For sure. Let's talk about the business stuff a little bit. Is email the best way to get hold of you?
Email is the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how does the business end work behind the scenes? Like what's going on with the PrettyDone team?
Well, you know, I'm a one-man army.
Yeah.
I have people helping me here and there, but you know, I am the designer, editor, content creator, owner. I mean, A to Z. I kind of wear all these hats, and you know, I've done that out of necessity. To be honest, like I would love this grand team of this person does this and this. They, you know, maybe one day that could happen, but it's really hard to find reliable, trustworthy, artistic, creative, flexible, awesome people.
Yes.
And that's what I'm looking for. So to find that, it's really tough, you know. So I've learned to, you know, just kind of carry more weight, put more weight on my shoulders and keep pushing and you know, going after it, because I can't sit around and wait for this magical person to come into my life and help me, you know, fulfill my dreams and what I want to accomplish. So I have people that help me in certain ways, but you know, I'm the man when it comes to PrettyDone, and it's no one else really making any decisions. And that's kind of the beauty of it, because like I said, it all started in my apartment having fun, and now it's, you know, a brand and a whole mural style, and now I have my own store. So, you know, I live and breathe this. Like I'm not like going home and watching TV and doing normal things. Like I'm literally like always drawing or cleaning or editing or shipping or ordering or, you know, doing.
Yeah, being your own boss is always something else to do.
Yeah.
Something else to go through.
Yeah.
So it kind of is you versus you.
Yeah.
A lot of ways. We were just talking about this with Paul before the show started. The fact that he was able to build all this and be able to delegate and, you know, rely on other people, where I, you know, my wife helps me, but that's it. I have an issue. Maybe it's a control thing, maybe it's a trust thing, but
Yeah.
I feel like I can't let it go either. I don't know.
Well, it's a tricky thing. It's like it's like a baby, right? Like, you know, it's like a little baby. You started for you, like you made this for you and your you know, happiness and love. And then like when other people are like, hey, let me borrow your baby or let me be a part of your baby, it's like, you gotta really bring it if you want to, you know, be a part of this. So I know what you mean, and I think that's a common thing for a lot of people that build something from scratch and really you know, love what they do and you know, have that connection to what they do. So that's common, I think.
For sure. But there are a lot of people that I can talk to about business stuff and money, since we're kind of all in the same boat. But who do you rely on? Because it feels like it's uncharted territory, especially in Vegas.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't see a lot of people doing what I'm doing.
Nobody.
And I love that. Yeah. I think that's a you know, a powerful feeling, and I want to keep doing that, because at the end of the day, like I don't compete with other artists or see them as like, oh, you know, we're next to each other. Like I'm in my own little world and my lane, and I've intentionally kind of done that to kind of not worry about any of that. You know, it's like that's such a common thing in life is like, why did he get this or she get this or this, and comparing and contrasting, and that's just kind of innate in human, you know, monkey brain behavior. Like you're always like, oh, what,
Yep.
why, you know? But at the end of the day, like if you could just focus on your vision and what you're trying to accomplish and, you know, your ability, you know, you could do so much by yourself if you apply yourself. And that's what I try to show people, especially kids, you know, let them know like you could draw anything you want. You could make this happen. You could do this. You could do that. It's all so possible. But a lot of people don't want to put the work in, or they want to rely on other people to help them carry things out. And I'm like, I don't have, no, you go get what you want, and you get more, and you get more, and you keep going. And that's the beauty of earning your rewards, you know, and that feeling of like, wow, I don't see anybody in my rear view for a reason, because this is what I've created, and I'm also not looking at the next guy in a bitter or a competitive way. So I'm just gonna keep doing what I, you know, intuitively feel and love, and keep working with good people, spreading, you know, that positivity that, you know, I create and I live by. And I think it's infectious, and that's probably another reason why I'm where I'm at. And there's only, you know, we're only partially in the journey. Like there's so much more to do, and you know, Vegas is amazing, and it's this tiny little baby, you know, and I'm happy I've been able to paint, you know, the whole thing almost. There's a couple little spots I'm missing, but we'll keep chipping away. And there's other cities and people that I want to connect with and work with, and just keep spreading the love of creativity and, you know, the imagination.
Awesome. You mentioned the store, 1531 South Commerce store, just opened. I got this shirt the first day.
Exclusive.
And these socks.
Ooh, fresh.
And sounded like, I mean, we had a small conversation about this, but it sounded like there was a ton of work. It was basically like a fucking odyssey to open up this store from when you decided to until opening. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you know, things happen at a timeline sometimes that you don't want or you can't predict, you know. So, you know, it just takes time and patience and learning and just going with the flow. You know, I signed my lease in November 21. I got in there October 22, and I opened 2 weeks ago. So it's been a 2-year process since when I signed the lease to actually opening. Don't get me wrong, when I got in there in October, yeah, if I was just selling canvases and, you know, stuff that I had at the moment, I could have opened maybe by January or whatever it was. But, you know, I decided to go full force with screen printing and really, you know, take my time with this space. I've never had a space. I've always been in my apartment. So to have a real creative space where I could, you know, sit with this and display my artwork in a better way and make better content and screen print items and make stuff from scratch. I want to draw this, I want to print it, and then I want to sell it or display it. Like bing, bang, boom. I love that kind of just instant, I don't got to outsource, wait around, go pick up, blah, blah, blah. Like all in-house. And eventually, like one day I wanted just a huge warehouse where I have printers and mold machines and all these, you know, contraptions to create anything at any moment at my fingertips. You know, that's really my goal. Like I want a seamstress. I want all these things to have at my disposal. I'm like, I want to make this, and then we execute that for the month.
Wow.
But, you know, right now I'm able to do what I'm doing at 1531 South Commerce and, you know, print stuff, paint stuff, sell stuff, have meetings, have little events. But it's been a journey, you know. I've learned so much. But I realized, you know, at one point I kept thinking, okay, I'm gonna be open should I try to open before Christmas? Okay, New Year's. Okay, February. march. And it just kept pushing and pushing, and it didn't feel right. You have to listen to your gut, and you have to realize, like, okay, this is just not ready. It's just, there's things missing. These people are crazy. Why do I have them as assistants? I got to get rid of them, and then we have to rearrange the pieces of the puzzle. So, always just kind of trust your intuition, man. Like, I've been learning more and more, like, that is the guide to everything. If something doesn't feel right, if this person's sketchy or something's not, sitting well, just let it ease up and take your time with it, because, you're feeling that for a reason, and it's not like someone's telling you that. So eventually I just realized, just keep chipping away every day, every month. When it feels right, it's going to feel right. And then I would say, in July, I started feeling really, okay, this is the layout, the products, the people around me, the vibe in the room. And then, getting closer to August, I'm like, okay, it's here. And then that's when I was like, you know what, let's do this.
I mean, yeah, walking in, it's just like PrettyDone heaven, all the lights, all the art, all the apparel, amazing. Talk to me about the basketball hoop you have in the front.
I love basketball. I grew up playing basketball. Cavs, yeah, definitely Cavs. But I'm not, that's rooting for a team is very tribal, Okay. It's such a tribal idea. Like, I'm from here. I have to root for them till I die. And that's a very common thing, especially from Ohio, Browns. Obviously, I grew up obsessed with the Browns, Bernie Kosar, Testaverde, Indians, Albert Bell. I mean, Kenny Lofton, you name them all, right?
Those guys, studs.
Exactly. Cavs, Larry Nance. The whole crew. All of them. But basketball, when I was younger, I played baseball for a little bit, and then I found basketball, and I was obsessed. Basketball still is one of my, passions and inspiration. It's just something that's really personal and how do I put it? Like, forever for me. Basketball there's certain things in life where you're just like, I'll do this forever. And art, music, basketball, those are some of the key things for me that I'll always do. So yeah, I've always played basketball throughout my life and been very passionate and competitive and played in leagues, and, only 5'8", 5'9", but a giant on the court.
Right.
Giant. So awesome. Yeah, it's a personal love of mine.
Very cool. What are the biggest challenges for you now professionally as you keep growing?
I would think the biggest challenge is still breaking out into a global, nationwide kind of presence.
Okay.
That's really where I want to be. Obviously my first goal is locally known, which is, step one, and then keep growing from there. So yeah, I want to do high-end collaborations. I want to work with a Nike and Adidas, Coca-Cola, or, companies that embrace the art that are, big time, which I've worked with, a good handful of them already, but I definitely want to design, a purse with, Fendi, or do a capsule with Nike and do a sneaker and a outfit, or what,
How amazing would that be?
So many things. Yeah. So high-end collaborations are a big part of, my future, hopefully. And, and just do some galleries. I've never done a gallery show. Vegas isn't really gallery driven, so New York, Chicago, LA, SF, those cities, I would love to do a gallery show. And obviously break out to other countries. There's so many people in Japan and Italy and Australia, South America that I would love to connect with and go to their land and communicate with them and also make something for them, So yeah, I just want to kind of keep growing worldwide,
Amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So how many projects do you take on at one time? Like, at any given time, how many projects are you on?
It's always different, right? Like, life is, things come and go. Sometimes things start stacking up, and sometimes they're a little slower. But there's always things happening. I'm always behind, which I love because like that gives me like a cue. Like I honestly, I look at it like I'm a machine. Like I have a cue. I have to get this design done. I got to finish this. I got to drop this off. I got to print this and then do it all again the next day. So I'm always just stacking the deck, you know, and really trying to see how much I could carry. But also I'm, you know, doing things that I'm excited to do, doing things with people that are awesome and, you know, unique opportunities. You know, to do a pizza box with Pizza Rock. I mean,
incredible.
That is such a cool idea. Yeah. Like stuff like this, like I'm like, come on, this is
incredible.
So fun. And I want to keep doing like unique things where people are like, oh, holy shit, this is printed. This is 100,000 pizza boxes, you know, and or whatever, however many they did. So I'm always just, you know, if something isn't inspiring or fun or unique, which I don't get too often, you know, here and there I'll have someone reach out to me, hey, can you paint this, you know, mermaid on a parking lot space or you know something.
That's what I was looking for. Okay.
Yeah,
a mermaid on.
Yeah, yeah, like stuff that I'm like, did you look at what I do? Like, this is not. There's a disconnect there, you know. So, very rarely do I get those. You know, I'll get here and there, but I think a lot of what I do and a lot of life is a boomerang effect. Right? It's like what you put out is what comes back. So I think that's why I get to work with great people and do these inspiring, fun, unique projects and murals, and people trust me with their walls or their business or their branding, whatever it is. Like, I think that's because, you know, I'm a good person and I put that energy out there, and it's like, you know, like we're magnets, you know, and it's, we connect and we work together. So very rarely do I get those, but yeah, I'm always saying yes to a lot of things because these are great things. You know, it's like, and on top of that, I don't have an agent or a manager that says, hey, Adam, slow down, stop this. You know, because I've had, you know, over the years, I've had some critiques and people that, you know, hate on what I do. But, you know, I think oversaturation is a silly term when everything you do is different. You know, if I was only painting a flamingo, and I was like, flamingo everywhere, flamingo here, this, whatever icon, that could be a little redundant, you know, but I'm always trying to do different styles and ideas within my, you know, range, you know, so I don't do shading. I don't do realistic portraits, you know, as you can tell. I mean, that's my realistic portrait right there. So I'm always, I'm always just trying to, you know, evolve and experiment with drawing and painting. So it's you know, I think it's limitless. You know, I could apply my lines to almost anything and, you know, try to reinterpret stuff in my way.
No face is the same.
Never.
Nothing. I mean, it's all one-on-one. Yeah. And it's incredible.
Thank you, Phil.
Let's talk about food. Where do you love to go around town these days?
Man, I love food, but you're the encyclopedia god of food. So whatever I say is going to be like very short.
No. I'm sure you have very good taste and you've been around. Okay, let's go with your go-to order at Min's Test Kitchen.
Okay.
You're going to have dinner there. What would you get?
Well, you know, when I'm eating there, I'm also working.
Okay.
So I'm not able to order what I really want to order.
Okay.
Because I'm DJing and I'm like sneaking little sushi bites into my mouth while I'm, you know, talking and DJing and doing stuff. So I always go with the salmon belly, yellowtail, the scallop, small stuff because I can't get the big dishes when I'm working.
That's true.
So it's unfortunate. I haven't really, you know, got the good stuff. I mean, it's all good, but I haven't got the, you know, the big dishes that I want to try. But honestly, everything they've done or everything that Min's doing, like it's delicious and high quality, amazing vibe and concept. And it's been a pleasure and just a fun activation that I've never seen anybody do, you know. and it's coming up on one more month and it's over. So
Yeah.
all summer I've been doing, and it's been a blast.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see the new Mizumi, and I think that was just the smartest thing for Win to keep a great guy like that
Yeah.
in-house.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the staff kind of went away and opened some of their own things, but yeah, it's really cool that you're there.
Yeah.
It was a nice surprise when we went.
Yeah,
and
that's
we're
right.
like, oh my God, all this stuff is here. And then there he is. So it was awesome.
yeah.
Any other restaurants? So obviously you work atypical hours from 9 to 5, a 9 to 5 person. So what is your best 4 a.m. Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub order?
Well, I am definitely a night owl.
Yeah.
I woke up at 10 today, so I'm exhausted already. So
What time do you normally wake up?
noon 1.
Okay.
I'm a noon 1 guy. So yeah, I'm always eating late night. I definitely have my main spots. Japanero.
Yes.
That's my favorite.
So good.
Favorite late night spot. Another one is, In-N-Out. I'm always hitting In-N-Out. That's one of my quick basics.
What's your order?
Double protein style, no salt, no onion, cut in half. Fry well, pink lemonade.
All right. That sounds like a good order.
Healthy and delicious.
I didn't know no salt could be a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fries well too. Sometimes I do that. That's pretty good. Sometimes I get a little too, like I'm just chewing cardboard. So sometimes I don't do well because sometimes they make them too well.
Right. That's funny.
But Japanero is definitely one of my main spots. Herbs and rye. It's hard to find late night quality, at 1 a.m.
Lots has changed in town.
Yeah.
Where it's not as readily available. But yeah, those 3 would be some of the top.
Yeah.
Top
Do you have any other recommendations?
For late night, Japanero would really be top of the list. The happy hour starts at 11 p.m. So,
Yeah.
how much
Delicious.
better could it get?
Dude, that bone marrow and filet,
Yep.
woo, that gets me going.
I always get the table right in front of the board. So
Oh, okay.
I don't have to, take the photo and look at my phone later. But yeah.
Dude, their sauce, I don't know what they put in their sauce. Their steak sauce, delicious. It has like a little vinegar twang to it. Whatever it is, I'm like just pouring that all over. But yeah, I would say herbs and rye and Japanero were probably my main spots. I always thought, when I was younger, I was always like, why is there no healthy late night food spots? Obviously, because everyone drinks late and wants Roberto's or, Tacos El Gordo or whatever it is. But it's such a weird thing that there's not one spot, not even one that like could fill that void. Because healthy people eat late too. Some, it's a niche thing, but,
I think on Grubhub is Mother's Falafel. I think that's the only one. They're open till like 3 a.m.
Where's that?
They're located on Rainbow and 215.
Okay.
And that's the closest. That's the only place I could get a salad at 1 a.m. if I had to.
Yeah, I love. I always tell people about this place by my house. It's not late night, but I love like grilled fish. You ever been to Fish King Grill?
Fish King Grill? No.
It's a good little spot.
Okay.
A couple people talked about it on the podcast. I thought Brandon talked about it and Tony.
The one on Rainbow.
No, it's
No.
on Windmill and Bermuda, I think.
Okay. See, I black out after the podcast. Like I don't even remember what we talked about. So when people were like, okay, Fish King Grill, 4.5 stars on Yelp. Over 6 star
Delicious.
reviews, delicious. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm bookmarking this.
yeah. I get
I
crab
already
legs.
bookmarked this. Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really good food. But like I always give that place a shout out because it's right in the area where I live, and there's no other place that I know locally that grills tilapia and salmon and mahi mahi and all these delicious fish with garlic butter and beans, zucchini, just very delicious.
Right.
Yeah. Like, and it's not even that expensive. Like $20, you'll get like a great
Looks great.
grilled fish meal. And
Yeah.
the crab legs are good. And I always give that place, I always tell people about it because it's like, it's consistent and I'm always going there. I'm like, wow, Why is there no other, do you know any other
So
grilled
there's
place?
California Fish Grill,
Right.
which I've been to several times, but
Very
I
good.
think that's it.
So that's a little corporate.
Yeah, very corporate.
You know,
Yeah.
and their stuff is great. I love their salads. Salmon's good. But it's different feel. This place has like a little southern funk to it. Highly recommend.
All right, I'll check it out. We're going to wrap it up with 10 questions. Adam, creative ruts happen for a lot of people. What's one piece of broad advice you could give to someone in a creative rut?
Weed, vacation, or look to people that inspire you and what they did and how they've evolved.
Nice. Are you a smoker? Do you
Just
do
weed.
edibles?
Yeah, I just smoke edibles here and there, not heavily edibles, but once in a while when I'm feeling a little risky, I'm like, let's pop a couple gummies.
Right.
You know?
I'm a big gummy guy.
Yeah.
More than any other way now. I used to smoke all the time, but
Yeah. Yeah, edibles, it's just, it's a different journey.
it's a different journey.
You know?
Sometimes you can't drive after.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
definitely
I've
staying
had those
put
issues. Yes.
when I got edibles going on.
Give me your top 3 retail stores in Vegas.
Top 3 retail. That's tough. I do a lot of shopping online. Let me think here. I'm so basic. I mean,
Okay, give me your. Where do you shop online?
eBay,
Okay.
little
So
boutiques.
you're looking for.
Yeah, I'm very like specific,
Yeah.
and there's little boutiques online. Like I love Feature, obviously that's one of my local spots. But online, like this company called End, Bodega, Blends. It's all these kind of like high-end boutique streetwear, just kind of quality stuff. But locally, Feature's definitely one. Big fan of the Nike outlets. Yeah, I'm pretty boring. I guess that's about it for right now.
Vegas, over under on how many shoes you have, pairs of shoes you own,
Yeah,
is 80.
way more.
Way more.
Way more. Probably closer to 200.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And where do you, so you store all the stuff at home along
Yeah.
with?
Yeah, I got racks of shoes. My closet's like mounds of shoes just fall down. I got it very overdue in organizing all that.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a real addiction that I have. Like I said, I'm always on eBay looking for rare shoes from the 90s, early 2000s. Just a Nike nerd, to be honest. Like I've always, since I think it was like 99 when I was 11 is when I really started becoming obsessed with sneakers. And, I was on Nike Talk and all these message boards, In Style Shoes, which is now ISS, and just always obsessed with sneakers and design and rare items. And it was such a little world then. Now everyone has sneakers.
Unreal.
It's like,
Yeah.
if you're not in the sneakers, like you're not even part of society.
It feels that way, for sure.
Yeah.
Say one of your favorite bands lets you decide on their preferred physical format for their album. What would you choose as the physical format?
Physical format?
Yeah.
Like vinyl?
Yeah.
Vinyl.
Vinyl. Okay.
Yeah.
You're a big music guy, obviously. Talk to me about some of your favorite artists.
I am so eclectic, man.
John Frusciante, we were talking about this.
Yes, John Frusciante is my god with music. His spirit and his sound and his, energy of what he writes and records is, it's just different for me. I always find myself every time going back to his albums and his solos or his lyrics and his voice. He's just he's a force. And Frusciante is my number one, I would say. But I'm heavily inspired by older music. I love Queen and David Bowie. I love funk bands and James Brown and Stevie Wonder. I love all that 60s, 70s music that, I grew up on. Also, what I was inspired to DJ when I first started. I loved playing 60s and 70s, mixing that in with new stuff and rock and old school hip hop and blending house music and doing all that. So I'm all over the place. I mean, I love weird indie electronic stuff, from one of my favorite bands now is Jungle. I love Jungle. I love, Hot Chip and Parcels and Black Keys and Jack White and, the list goes on and on, but I'm always drawn towards, something that's soulful and funky and, just not that traditional, pop. I love some pop music, don't get me wrong, but like I always kind of lean towards something that's a little more pure and just soulful. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you have that one concert that changed your life?
Well, the first time I saw the Peppers, which it sounds crazy to say this, but it was only like 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, yeah. Like I never got to see them, because Frusciante left in 2006.
Yeah.
And that's when Stadium Arcadium came out, which I was obsessed with. That's kind of really what hooked me onto the Peppers. I'm a late bloomer. People always say, Mother's Milk, Blood Sugar, Californication, blah, 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 which obviously are amazing masterpieces. But Stadium Arcadium was what really hooked me onto them. I loved, some stuff prior, but I guess I didn't really like sit on it and really like, dive into them and understand, wow, these legends. But the sound of Stadium Arcadium really hit me. And that's when I was like hooked on the Peppers, and then he left. So that's when Josh came in, and that was up until 2 years ago. So right when Frusciante came back, I was like, okay, well, first concert, they're on the West Coast, I'm going, because I didn't get to see him 2006 and back.
Yep.
So I went to LA and saw him, and I was crying, and I was like,
amazing.
Feeling that energy. I'm like, this is such a powerful experience for me, because like I said, I take music and art, to the heart, and it's very serious to me, and obviously it's fun, but when I got to see him and hear them play and sync up, it's a spiritual, kind of surreal feeling. And I would say that concert, but I did see Khruangbin, which is one of my favorite bands as well. I forgot to mention them, and Tame Impala. I saw them in LA at the Greek Theater and the Coliseum. And those were also, what's that?
I was at that show.
Oh.
That was like the best show of my life.
Which one, Khruangbin?
No, Tame Impala.
Tame Impala, yep.
Yeah,
that was right when COVID hit.
Yeah.
It was like the day before.
Yeah.
It was like March 12th.
Wow.
Yep.
Craziest show.
Yep. Yeah, that was so good.
So cool.
So yeah, all those kind of bands I love, and but I would say the first time seeing Frusciante play, I was like, wow, this is just like chills and tears and happiness.
I mean, how many members go back to the group twice?
Never.
3 times, because they know he's just such an MVP and so unique.
He's the key.
Peppers,
He
yeah.
unlocks their universe and their harmony and just their energy. Like I always tell people, it's like they're the only band from the 80s still relevant today, producing new albums and touring. There's not another band putting out new material that's good.
Well, that's
Well, even or just new
Metallica.
material.
Okay, Metallica.
Metallica?
Maybe
Okay.
That might be it. But yeah.
Okay. What year did they start?
82?
Okay.
83?
Yeah.
So I actually missed my only time to see the Chili Peppers with Frusciante, and it was Woodstock 99. Because we were living like animals for literally 2 days, my college friends and I, and we were just done by Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And we left before all the fires and all that, but I remember they were wearing the big light bulbs on their heads and all that stuff, but we booked it.
Woodstock 99, that's crazy.
That was insane.
Is that when Limp Bizkit, everything,
Yeah,
the
Limp Bizkit,
fires,
Korn.
Rage?
So it was, Korn, Limp Bizkit, then Rage, all 3 in a row.
Come on.
Like, and they were trying to tell people, they're like, calm down, Rage is next.
Hell no.
What?
Bring the fire.
It was insane.
Wow.
It was insane. And no cell phones. How did anyone find anyone
Right.
back then? I have no idea.
How did anyone even live then? Like, think about how, man, that's such a trip to think, like, how different you live.
Yeah.
And you react and you consume music or concerts. But I've watched that Woodstock 99 on
I felt
YouTube.
like such an asshole after watching that.
Yeah.
I did
That's
in a lot of ways
crazy.
because I didn't Yeah, I'm not gonna.
No, I got
I'm
you.
not gonna. Yeah,
But I
it
didn't
was
think about
wild.
Metallica. It's a good. I guess I'm not a big Metallica head. That's why maybe I wasn't aware that they were 82.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah. Some people would say U2, but no.
Right. I guess that's another band. I guess they're putting out new albums, right?
Yeah, they're still writing, still putting out new albums, and yeah, I'm trying to get a ticket for the Sphere. We'll see
To me, crazy.
how it goes.
I want them to bring in some younger
Yeah.
music. You know, like obviously pay respect to the legendary bands, and I'm surprised they didn't get the Stones or someone.
It sounds like for the Sphere though, like the show has to be tailored for the venue, and it sounded like a lot of artists are hesitant of just making it specifically for the venue.
But I think
I don't know.
I think it's it's like a very bespoke, tailored experience, but like it's the only one in the world.
Yeah.
Like I would be shooting for that. If I was a musician, I feel like, that's like to get a 360, projection dome, like that's got to be different.
Yeah, I can't wait. I
Yeah.
can't wait to see what it's like. You can only choose one building to redo PrettyDone style. Would it be the Strat, the Plaza, or the Luxor?
Luxor. It's just the shape is just so iconic and Vegas.
Right.
That I'm like, man, that pyramid. I mean, yeah.
It would look amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. What's one movie every single person on the planet should watch?
Well, let me just preface. I haven't seen a movie since '99 or something.
So the classics.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm classics only. Like I don't. Like
Is
I said,
it just time to commit to watching?
I don't know. It's kind of both. It's a mixture of both for me. Like I need to really be engaged and love, this kind of manufactured, presentation. But when I was younger, I'd love movies. I loved like the silly stuff, Dumb and Dumber, Half Baked, Night at the Roxbury. Just silly classics.
Yeah.
That I've always loved. But then also it was always like silly comedy or like mafia movies, like Casino, Goodfellas, Godfather. It was always those two contrasts for me. And I just never really loved going to movies. Like I remember, I remember being young and going to see Scream or,
Yep.
I Knew What You Did Last Summer and everyone's screaming. Like it was a whole experience. And it might still be like that today, but I don't know. I guess I just lost interest in film. I love documentaries and podcasts and kind of more interview stuff where I could kind of learn. And I don't know. Every time I tell someone that, they're like, "What? You don't, enjoy film and movies? That's art too." And I'm like, "Of course it is." But I don't know. I guess for me, I'm always listening to music, writing music, or listen to a podcast or a documentary or a little news or, learning something kind of. So I respect it, but I don't know. I never have the urge, like, I got to go to the movie theaters. So I would say those classics, like those silly comedies. And,
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Dumb and Dumber is always a great one.
definitely.
You're a big Rogan fan, right?
Big Rogan.
Yeah. Very
Love Rogan. Listen to him from almost the beginning, like 2009, 2010.
Wow.
Listening to his podcast when it was him and Red Band and with snowflakes at Joe's office in his house, and they would just sit there and talk shit and talk about whatever, and I was always listening to that. And then when he started getting into more interviews, I was like, oh, this is amazing. And, kind of gives you life advice and, a look into someone that, he's an anomaly, right? Like to do what he's done in his trajectory and kind of hit, reality TV and fighting and comedy and all these different things and be inspirational and kind of bring that positivity to people, I think is, the reason why he's where he's at. People have, he's saved people's lives and inspired people and shown people like to think differently. And yeah, definitely there was times, there was a good chunk of years where I was like just absorbing what he was saying, and it kind of gave me that confidence that I needed, and I think that's why people love what he does. And he always has like just a great cast of people surrounding him that, oh, I learned about this guy. Now I follow this guy. Now I'm friends with this guy. And So I'm actually going to Austin next month because I want to go to
nice.
I want to go to his comedy shop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Mothership. So I want to go out there and because the whole comedy scene's there now.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I want to go out there, experience. I've never been to Austin.
Austin's a great city.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think you'll love it.
Give me some
I will.
recommendations, please.
We went to Uchi and then Terry Black's were probably the two most notable ones. I didn't want to stand in line at Franklin's and a couple of the barbecue places.
Yeah.
But yeah, those two were outstanding. And we stayed at the Driscoll, which was like the first stop on the haunted tour of Austin.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was it a good hotel?
Yeah, classic, good, little creaky. And we had a knock on the door and nobody was there. But
Ooh.
yeah,
It's real.
that was real. Maybe it was real.
I'm staying at Arrive.
Okay.
It's pretty. Looks like an artsy hotel.
Yeah, I think you'll love it.
I'm excited.
And then finally, if you could, I'd like you to shout out someone or something that deserves more notice.
Great question. Well, I mean, I could shout out restaurants that I love, but everyone knows Good Pie and Makers and all these spots. Let me think. There's this comic that passed away. I want to kind of shine some light on him, I guess. He was a big inspiration of mine. Stand-up comedy has always, kind of taught me a lot of things, and I've always just gravitated towards that because, it's such a pure art form for someone to just go up there and talk and express, what they think is funny or who they are and their perspective. But Brody Stevens was one of my favorite comics, and he was an integral part of the Comedy Store in LA, and he was friends with Joe and everyone in that crew, and he was just an original, old school dude, loved baseball, loved silly comedy, and just a beautiful soul. And he definitely he was depressed and had his demons and situations, but he inspired a lot of people. He was a great drummer. He loved, good music. And he just brought this thing called positive energy. He would always just say, "You got it. Push and believe. Positive energy. Yes." And he would always just shout out, 818 till I die. He just always represented where he was from. And he was always authentic and silly, but clever. And he was just a comic that inspired me. And I did some artwork for him before he passed.
Wow.
Yeah, I just did some fun little logos, and I was send it to him, and he's he reposted them, and we were gonna print them on shirts and stuff. And it just, he passed away, and so there's a foundation now on Instagram. You could find, I think it's if you look up Brody Stevens Foundation or Brody is Me Friend, which is his Instagram. You could find they do a monthly or a yearly walk for him because he has a little bench at this park, and I designed some stickers for them that they gave out last month for his, remembering him. So I ordered those and I shipped them to him, to the guy that runs the whole foundation, Tommy, and yeah, just someone that kind of inspired me, and maybe a lot of people aren't aware of him because he's he was famous he was like a comics comic, all the comics would wait for him to come up and do crowd work and be silly. He was in the movie The Hangover, and he did warm up for Chelsea Lately and Rob Dyrdek's show. He was just kind of doing all these different things, but also he would do periscopes and podcasts. So definitely someone that was 101, pure, amazing, good-hearted, good guy. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll check him out.
Yeah.
That's cool, and that's also super unfortunate that he did pass.
Yeah. If you look at Brody Stevens, he tons of material and content to really you could really see what he was about, because he was a very unique guy in comedy. Mitch Hedberg?
I don't.
Yeah, look him up. He's another unfortunate guy that passed away from his situation that he was going through. But just one-liners, quick, witty, no segues, just hit you, but makes you think, and unique. And I love those kind of, comics. George Carlin, Stephen Wright.
Yep.
These guys that are just, because most comics are storytellers, or like, they'll talk about their, experiences in life and blah, blah, blah. These guys would come with these one-liners and just run them. And they were just so clever. And I love that kind of comedy. Carlin obviously was a little different, same with Bill Hicks. These guys would kind of, preach and kind of teach you about life and a lot of the bullshit that we're thrown or taught and reprogram you to some degree. But yeah, like I said, stand-up comedy, powerful world that I've always been inspired by.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a tough thing to do, and to go out there by yourself and go off. Yeah.
For sure.
This was a real treat.
Yeah, I love this.
Really appreciate you coming in here and chatting with us.
Yeah.
Check him out at PrettyDone on IG, PrettyDone.com, and in so many spots in Vegas. He also recently opened up the PrettyDone shop at 1531 South Commerce. It's by appointment only, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. Go to PrettyDone.com to make your appointment. Also, Adam-DJ.com for all the music stuff. And thanks for being here.
Thank you, Phil.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Till next week. All right. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in to the Las Vegasville podcast. For more information about me and where I've been dining recently, check out my IG and TikTok at Las Vegasville. Feel free to text or leave me a voicemail about anything you want, 702-551-4445. Stay tuned as a new episode of the show debuts every Monday morning.